This is Find Your Magic, where we talk to people about how they found their magic and how they want to live their lives moving forward with their magic. I am Tracy Feldstein. I am a wellness engineer, body engineer, and owner of Hello Mellow natural skincare product.
And I'm Jaime Gennaro. I'm a business consultant and coach. And we are interviewing Missy Reitner Cameron. Is that right, Tracy?
Yep.
And Missy is an artist. She's a painter. She's also the co-owner of Hello Mellow. And we're going to talk to her about all the hurdles that she experienced to get to the point of finding her magic and living into it. So take a listen.
And if you like what you hear, join us every Monday for a new Find Your Magic on YouTube. And also we're doing an in-person seminar and workshop in Ojai, California, it's January 2022, January 8th, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, right. So check it out on our websites. And if you have any questions, hit us up.
Great.
Find Your Magic. Yes, you.
Hi, my name is Missy Reitner Cameron. I am a painter. I am also a partner in a body products company called Hello Mellow, and I'm a pretty happy person.
So we're here to talk about like, what's the thing you do that like you would do for no money? You don't have to, obviously, but like just time flies. It's your magic. You just think this is special to me. This is why I'm put on the planet. Like this fills me. This is the thing I love to do.
Okay. For me, the magic comes in the arts. So obviously I paint, and painting is very important to me. And it's something I do not for money a lot of the times, as well as doing it sometimes to get paid, which is great. But I think anything in the arts. So I sit on boards regarding the arts, like the Arts Council in the community I live in, that's promoting local and public art, because I think public art is a really important part of the arts getting to people to everybody, to people that don't have the opportunity to go into museums or go into spaces where art exists primarily, to be able to just be in their community and have art. So that's something that's really important to me. So I think it's probably serving on boards, that anything that has to do with the arts. So working in that space is what fills me up and allows me to keep kind of moving forward in this world,
So it's always a journey to figure this out, right? To figure out from like point A to point B that you want to be involved in the arts. So for you, like, what was that journey? What was the jumping off point where you're like, this is what I need to be doing. I can't do anything else.
Well, Tracy has known me most of my life, and I have always been the arty kid. There was never really a path for me that wasn't in the arts. But for me, I went to art school, I went to college for the arts. And then from there, I actually moved into a role that was a little bit more graphic. I had a graphic design company. So I worked in graphics, which to me still had elements of art. But over the years, I owned that company for 15 years. And even in that time, we donated, as a company, we donated a lot of time to arts, come either nonprofits or things like that. We always made time for those, like where I live, there was a festival for music, the Mozart Festival. So we always donated time to help them. Or there was a chalk festival. We always donated time wherever we could, I needed that to make me feel like the other stuff I was doing, which was basically making ads for people that were selling stuff. That's the part that fueled the fire for me, was being able to take some of the profits that we made doing the stuff that maybe didn't fill me up quite as much, to be able to do these kinds of things. So my journey really started once I had the company and was able to use my I guess, use my team and use my skill set to help promote things like that. Once I got rid of the company and said, I want to paint full time, I was able to still continue doing that in some capacity. So that's kind of my journey. My journey was always arts, though. I don't think you can ask mom and dad, there was never a path that didn't lead somewhere in the arts.
Yeah. So the jump from I have a legit business and
Yeah.
be a painter and I just want to paint. How did the jump, what held you back? Did it take a long time? What was the process? Like, what was the moment where it was like, nope, I'm doing
Yeah,
it?
I'm done. Yeah, well, so I owned the graphic design company for 15 years, and I had a wonderful team of people that I worked with. Over the years, we've had people move on to great places and stuff, and that's what filled me up in the company probably more than anything was building teams and getting to work with people. But over the years, once I hit about the 12-year mark, I felt stagnant, I felt bored. Honestly, if I had to talk to another client, I was gonna jump off the building. Like I couldn't deal with it anymore. So I took kind of a sabbatical and started painting. I'd already had a painting studio. I just wasn't using it frequently. And so I ended up going to the company and saying, like, after the sabbatical, I'm going to come back. And I did. And it still just wasn't, it was no longer working for me. Like, I actually could physically feel it. I was tired all the time. I was upset. And every time I was at the studio, I felt phenomenal. I felt great. I felt like I was and at that time I was painting for no one. I was painting for me, just to do something, just creative work. So once we hit our 15 mark in 2020, actually, I'm sorry, 2019, we hit our 15-year mark or something like that. Um, I was just, I just told the company I can't do this anymore. I had heavy conversations with my partner and I had conversations with friends, trusted friends, and knew that I had the capacity to live without the company and knew that all of the people that I had worked with for so long that I loved and that, I helped, they helped me run the business, but I also was able to help them have these head of household jobs and everything. I knew they would be fine. I helped all of them get placed and I just called all the clients and was like, I'm done. And it was literally just an emptiness inside of me that I couldn't, just wasn't fulfilling it anymore for me. And the only place I was really happy was my studio. So that's when I just knew that I had to make that change for myself.
Was there any reservation? Like, did you stay up at night wondering
Yeah.
how it was going to go, worrying, like not sure if you were making the right decision?
Yeah, no, jumping into the arts is easy. Like, sure, I just did no worries at all. Like, of course, I mean, I'm like, I was leaving a business where I had clients and I had, we were making ends meet and all of that stuff to jumping into something that is completely like the arts is never really stable from in any way. So, yeah, I worried about it a lot. Um, but I had support from friends and family, my partner, I, everybody around me who loved me knew it was the right step. So I had a lot of support. So I just kind of had to set up things to make it work. But yeah, of course, there was hesitation and fear because I was worried. Initially, I was worried about my team. I was worried about what it looked like in the community because where I live is kind of a small community, and we were a medium-sized business that had been involved in the chamber and all these city things. And what is it going to look like to every? So there was more. I don't want to say ego-driven, but it was a little bit of that. It was more like, what is this going to look like to people? Am I a quitter? Am I a failure? But there was just this nagging kind of push in me that was like, you need to do something different. Like, this is the fact that every time you walk into work and you just want to walk out is not, you're not helping anybody. It's almost, and I figured, I used to wait tables, I've done bartending. Like, if I needed to, I can always do that, right? I can always fall back on something so that I can continue painting. So I just knew that I had enough skills that I could do whatever I needed to do. So, yeah.
That's
Awesome.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so just following that knowingness that we kind of talk about that is like attached to magic, like when you feel that kind of um awakening within yourself and you can't stop feeling it, it's like it's sort of that moment where it's like, yes, you're going to have all those self-doubts and judgments and all those things, but it's almost like you can't, this is a moment like you can't turn around, right? Because
There,
you just feel
mhm.
it so viscerally that it's like at this point got to move forward. So then our favorite question is then what's next? Like what else are you afraid of or holding yourself back from, or maybe having some talks about, or like, oh, I want to do this, but is there anything like that now? So we're just all learning
Abs-
from each other that we all do this, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. I mean, I think that I'm still very new in the painting scene, if you will, as an artist, and trying to figure out what path I want to take. Because in the arts, there's a million paths. As a painter, you can do things like currently I do a couple art shows a year. Um, and I kind of got led down that path kind of randomly. Somebody suggested I enter one and I did, and I got in and it was great. And so I entered a couple more and I got in and it was great. Um, it's a nice way to, painting is a very solitary practice for me. So it's a way to actually go out and talk to people, which I enjoy more now. But I also like that it's like for a weekend and then I can go back to my studio and hermit up and do what I like to do. But as things are evolving, I'm wondering, I'm want to maybe get into a gallery, right? Maybe I want gallery representation, which is another big step because there's a lot of changes that need to be made. There's a lot of expectation of paintings that, you need to have a bigger body of work, which right now I don't have a huge body right now. Um, there's just a lot of things that, and also, am I good enough? Like um, I recently, and I'm totally gonna pat myself on the back about this, but I won an award recently, which felt great and was wonderful. But the whole time I'm like, this has to be wrong. Like me, like, right? It's just that self-doubt still creeps in. And, it's hard to sometimes shut it up because you just want to be like, look, this wasn't something that you did. Somebody recognized what you did. They're giving you recognition based on their opinion, which is great and lovely and feels good. It doesn't really change how I think of myself, really. Um, but I'm trying to not be scared because I've already probably done, over my lifetime, I've done some scary things. Um, Not just physically scary, but mentally challenging and possibly harmful and things like that. So to be able to realize that trying to go after maybe my next step being gallery representation, like what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Someone's going to say no. Okay. There's a million galleries in the world and I can still do shows and I'm just trying to, for me, I think it's a learning curve. So I think my fear comes from the not knowing, old dog tricks I've got. So it's a lot of learning, which is exciting. It's a great opportunity to grow as a human, but it's scary. I started a new career at the age of 50. Like what, that's a lot. That's a lot to take on. So yeah, it's, yes, I'm scared every day, but I'm also happier than I've ever been. So,
Mm,
right.
that's
Yeah.
pretty powerful.
Yeah.
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 And that's the thing
Yeah.
that I think we're trying to show people by doing this and talking to people like you, Missy, is that we're all scared. So it's not that at some point we stop being scared and like, oh, the end game of this whole thing is that like eventually you just stop being scared. It's like if you want to keep doing things that are interesting, you're going to keep doing things that are super
Yeah.
scary, but you just do it anyway, right? Like and what I like about
Absolutely.
your idea is that you're like, but there's always something out, like there's always a fallback. Like I can do this thing, but I can always fall
Yeah.
back on graphic design. Like there always is a
Always.
fallback.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think people
Yeah.
forget
My
that.
skill
Like I
set,
need to
my,
do this thing and it better succeed or else I'm a failure. It's like, no, it's just it's just movement.
yeah, I definitely have enough history and enough skill sets that I will always be fine. I know that. It's just, where do I want to take this? You know, how do I want to expand it? How do I want to grow it? What's my, you know, and it's almost like just thinking of the future while living in the present is sometimes just scary, you know, in general, just thinking about what your next steps are, of course are scary. But like I said, I feel like I've done enough things in my life that have been challenging and scary that I know this one is really not a big deal. You know, it's really not. It's fortunate that I get to do it. I feel very fortunate and lucky every day. It's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. And I have no one that depends on me. You know, having no employees is a gift for me, because as a kind of empathetic person, it is really hard to have employees sometimes, because you just want to fix it all and help everybody and run the business. And it's like, now I just have to worry about myself. It's kind of nice change.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But you also are a co-owner in another business.
I am. Yeah, that is true. And that also has a lot of learning curves and a lot of joys, because I get to work with my best friend, who we've been friends. Nothing is important. I wish I had a good toy here. I don't have all my.
I love that it has an individual hitter. I love that it goes.
Oh yeah,
I can do either one. That makes me happy.
I mean, as it should. Oh, I was going to show you my dead grasshopper, but I just broke his leg. Oh, this is what I have. Hi.
Oh.
I died out.
Whatever. This is what
Okay, so stop being silly now. Okay.
Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. No,
I am.
Okay, sorry.
No, Jaime.
No,
Okay.
my internet is
That's okay.
unstable. It keeps going in and out. I'm sorry.
Rude.
You just got home. It's not used to you using it. It's like,
yeah. I just had a 3-month vacation.
I know. I'm like, how does technology work?
It wasn't you, it was the technology.
Always. It's always the technology.
Oh wow.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I missed the end of you talking about Hello Mellow. So you.
Oh, I think I did a little dance and then I went off screen. I was kidding. No,
but I'm just curious. Like, I know you love working together, the two of you. But how did that start? Like, how did you guys decide that? Okay, we're really good friends. Can we go into business together? I just always love those stories.
I think we jumped over that one.
Yeah, we were just
like I was making the stuff for work, and she was like, and I kept joking, like people kept asking me how can they buy it, and I kept saying no, and you know, that went on for a couple of years, and we would joke about it all the time, and she's like, well, why don't we just put a label on it and let them buy it? And I was like, oh
yeah, I have that ability. I've done this.
She can do that. I can't do that. I wouldn't even have thought to do that, you know? And she's like, but
if people want it,
like, and we just started the conversation. It was like, oh, what would it look like? Then that's fun. She baited me with exactly how to bait me. I was like, what do you mean? We can make it pretty or fun or cool?
Yeah.
Okay,
we can do whatever.
Like?
Yeah.
And so I just rolled into that. And we honestly we made the labels I gave it as a like holiday gift to my clients that year, because they had been asking nonstop. And I was like, still not quite ready to do the whole like, what does it mean I'm going to start another business? I'm not sure. So I gave it to everyone and we made labels for that. So we picked 2 cents.
They were the little
Yeah.
tins. They
Yeah.
were
I use
little
metal
tins, and
tins.
we did the orange tops on them. I think we
Uh-huh.
did an orange and a green. I think so. Yeah.
We did. I
I've
think
been
it started. That's so funny. Charlie just asked me, what was the first flavor, Mom? What was the first intention? I was like, such a good question. And I think it was rejuvenate and relax. I think
I
because I
think it
wanted an up and
was.
a down. And it's so
Yeah.
funny. But so
Yeah.
we gave them, and then that started the more problems, because then it was like, well, now it's in a bottle. So can I buy it? Because it's empty. And I was like,
Mhm.
miss.
Dang it.
Just
Yeah,
like
we got it.
we sat down and we just like went for it.
And it's been fun. We're kind of in this process of revamping everything right now. We hired a marketing manager, and we're now kind of in this process of like really ramping it up. So I've been going through all of our old files. Like I went through everything, and it is so awesome to see our original labels and then our second draft labels, which were remember that French gray with color? They were like
Yeah.
the brownish
They
gray
were
with
a
color.
brown with all the colors. Yeah.
And now, and then it's just so cool to see. And then we added in new intentions, and we added in, specialty sets and stuff like that. So it's really fun to work, because Tracy's mind is always going. She's always creating. She's a true creator. So to be able to work with somebody who has that vision and being able to kind of rein it in and package it and make it look like the thing she sees in her head is pretty phenomenal. And like I said, we've really known each other since we were, I think, like 8 or 9. And we don't tell people. Well, I already gave out my age, but it's a long time. It's none of your business. But we've known each other a long time, and we've always kind of had this connection where we kind of just can work together pretty seamlessly. So yeah, we never really had to have that conversation of like, how's this going to work? We just know what we're good at, and we let each other do the thing we're good at. And I think we're just really supportive of each other. It just works really well. So yeah, so that's my other job. I do that, and I still do graphic design for a couple nonprofits, just as donation, because I firmly believe that giving back is really the most important thing a human can do, is try and give, at least in some part of your community, help where you can.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And it seems like all of these things work so seamlessly together in your world, right? And it doesn't, even this business with Tracy, you said like no one's relying on me. And so it's nice that you don't have this feeling that like you have to carry some weight that's a burden or that's heavy. And even when you volunteer, sometimes people carry that weight too. And it's great the way that you have sort of bridged all of these worlds, brought them all together. It all makes sense, and it all just feels spacious and easeful, like you're in control of it, instead of feeling like someone's controlling you or someone's telling you what you have to do. And I feel like it all started when you made that leap, that you were like, I need to just cut these ties, and it doesn't matter who I disappoint. People in the community might wonder what's going on, but it's like, as soon as you make that decision, it's amazing how like it can just create space in your world of like, now you get to decide how you show up at Hello Mellow, and you get to decide how you're showing up for the community. And that's amazing. It's so empowering.
It's very empowering, and I feel very, very fortunate. And I will also say that the other thing that happened was my daughter graduated high school and went to college. So that was another a different type of release. Obviously I'm still her mother. That didn't get to go away. I don't want it to. I'm just saying it didn't, leave. But it does, having these things that were these daily kind of grind responsibilities just make it a little bit harder to set up my day the way I wanted. And now I can set my day up however I want. I can schedule it however I need to that works for me. And it's really a joy. It's really, it's very freeing to kind of have that. And again, I feel very lucky and very fortunate to have that. And sometimes I do get overwhelmed, if I was talking to a gallery recently, and they were like, well, we need like 20 pieces. And I'm like, and they only want big pieces. I'm like, that's so many pieces, so are still pressures that come, and nonprofits ramp up and have certain things they need, but it's just, I think over the years, having learned how to prioritize my needs has really helped me get to this point, has really helped me get to where I need to be, and looking at it as not a selfish act, but knowing that I'm going to produce the best work possible if I'm doing it in a way that isn't making me nuts. You're going to get the best results. So, if, and I also have noticed that with the pandemic and a lot more people working from home, I've noticed that some people absolutely thrive in that. And that is because they can set up their schedules to work best for them in a capacity. I've noticed that some people really thrive that way. And I kind of wish more businesses, excuse me, could see the benefit of that and not be so stressed out about people all having to be at the office and working 9 to 5 and blah blah. It's just really interesting to see how different people need different ways of living to produce the best results. And I think people need to, and I hope people are more realizing as they're working in some of those environments. One of the things I always said at my company was, we're graphic designers. No one dies in what we're doing. Like, we're not doctors, we're not surgeons. There is, yeah, there might be deadlines and we always need to meet our deadlines, but do not stay up for 3 days. This isn't how it works. When I was in my 20s, I worked 80-hour weeks. I busted my ass. And I thought that's what I had to do. And I know that some people really do thrive in that. I know there's some people who love being on call all the time and love that. But I also hope that more people are realizing that if they're in a corporate environment that is toxic, get out.
Missy has so many great, just obviously, like, I don't know what to call it, just insights, right? Like she does seem so relaxed about what's next, right? And
Yeah.
it's so fun to watch that because we talk about, like, we're seeing people sort of on the other side of the fear, right? They face the fear,
Right.
and then we get to talk to them afterwards. But she's about to go into something that's different again, and she's just like, it's cool, bring it on.
I know. And, I mean, whether I'm allowed to share or not, because I've known her my whole life, we're talking about someone, which is, I think, talking about everyone when you're younger, and that belief that you're not enough, it's never enough, right? The anxiety, the pace, the energy in which you live your life and feel about yourself, right? It has been very different most of her life, where this is her chill, is her real self, but it's that thinking you have to be for other, right, a certain way, and been chasing it. And so it's so awesome that you see that, like, that moment of like, I'm not doing it that way anymore ever again. You can feel it, because she has opened a new book, right? And she's like, cool, right? It's like, I always laugh about like my massage books and stuff, like from school or whenever you go to school, right? It's like, well, we can just get rid of them. We're never opening them again. We know what we know what we've experienced. We've learned all this stuff, and now it translates into whatever we want, right? Like, close the book, put it away, and I am who I am from it, but I get to make new choices. And she really is encompassing a person that has, like, wholeheartedly stepped into making new choices and learning all those lessons and choosing from them, right? And like, you feel it. She's like, yeah, and if I don't know the answer, I'm not going to do it because I'm not sure yet.
It's so great. And I mean, how fun for her too, to have you to reflect that back to her. So if she starts going down that route, or if she forgets, she has you. And we talk about that, like, mirroring thing. Like, you can remind her, remember, like, when you were living this way and you've made that choice. So when she gets to those decision-making moments, it's so nice when you have someone who can also, like, tell the truth to you about, like, hey, I see you kind of going down this path. I know you don't want to go down that way. It's, make the choice that you're making on purpose. It's so nice to have those people. And she said that's what helped her get through that hurdle of going full bore into art and painting was having the support, having the people around her. And you're one of those people. And she's so lucky to have that and to have that long friendship and that long relationship, because you get to be the truth teller, which is important in that moment in changing things that drastically. You need someone who reminds you why you're doing it when you get scared.
And I'd love to say that's because I've known her whole life, but let's face it, I'm sort of the truth sayer.
No matter what.
That's sort of my gift. So, I like to be the reflector, and I like to be the one that's like, so, okay, well, this one feels anxious and icky, and this one feels good. Which relationship do you want with yourself? Right? And I think that once you own that relationship and you can help someone get to that relationship with self, and they can really trust their relationship with themselves and the knowingness of like, this feels off. Why? This feels good. Why? What choices am I making in both? And then I can like make choices, right? From like, instead of just going through it and stuff. And so I think that's what's so cool about, the work we do and how we show up for people is like to sort of reflect, right? And just give the information of what you're seeing and like, what do you see? What do you feel? Where do you want to go with it? What do you want? And that's so cool.
Yeah. And reminding people that it is a choice. I think I was talking to someone today and it's like, well, how much of it is me creating this situation and how much of it is like the environment creating this toxic situation for me? And sometimes it's half and half, but you have to take ownership of the fact that like you get to make the decision. You get to choose, you get to go down the next road, and it might mean disappointing people, but you get to choose disappointing people or living your best life, being your best self, doing things that feel in alignment with you. Which one is more important? And, at some point you just do have to say like, well, fuck it. I'm more important, and it's not selfish. I'm going to do better work. I'm going to be a better person in the world, but you have to own it. You have to own it. And you can't blame everyone for putting you in that position, because if you keep blaming, you keep getting yourself stuck. So you need people like you and like me, although I think you're like the bomb truth teller. Like, I love the way that you like drop the truth bombs on people and like really show them like, this is what it looks like. Don't forget.